All right, Twilight Zone. Thank you all for taking this most delightful trek with us. Good evening. Live long and prosper. Today's installment is about Discovery's Season 4, Episode 7, titled But to Connect. Representatives from across the galaxy gather to confront the threat of the dark matter anomaly. Also, during a second storyline, Zora's new sentience raises difficult questions for the crew and for Dr. Kovich. So we have two main storylines in tonight's episode. First, the Federation and other worlds throughout the galaxy. We're talking about all four quadrants have arrived at Federation headquarters to discuss how to handle the DMA. This, while it is conceivable, given the location of the Federation, that representatives from all four quadrants could attend, it is basically the first time we've ever heard of representatives from all four quadrants potentially being brought into the Federation. There are ramifications in the decisions they will make, which might affect their use of or lack of use of the Prime Directive. The second main storyline deals with Zora's sentience. Dr. Kovich has been brought aboard to help determine whether or not Zora truly is a sentient being. However, Stamets has serious objections to this. So much so that Zora is basically put on trial and other members of Discovery fight on her behalf. We also learn of the drastic measures Zora herself is ready to give members of the crew, which is in and of itself a possible departure of Federation principles. All right, let's get started. Let's go. So the Federation and other member worlds are being asked how to handle the DMA. Marie, let's start with a simple question. What evidence do we have that leads us to believe the DMA is indeed a weapon, or is it some experiment that has gone wrong?
The problem is that we don't have data. Like, we don't really have any information, which is a point that Burnham makes during the course of the episode. What we know is that it sort of looks like a whale eye, and it eats planets, and it punches its way through the galactic barrier. So all of those kind of point in the direction of weapon. However, we also know nothing else. It could have been it could be a science experiment run amok. It could be maybe a proto version of whatever species 10C is. We only have Ruon Tarka's word that there's a device at the center, mind you. No one else has been able, I mean, yes, he's created a model, but no one else has been able to create or acquire any further data on that point. So realistically, that's kind of the problem. That's the crux of the issue, is that we just don't know what's going on.
Gotcha. All right. So we have with us two special guests. We have Lord Deathman. He is here. He's going to respond to Marie real quick. But before he does that, I also want to introduce True Knowledge. Real quickly, in 5-10 seconds, can you both introduce yourselves to us?
Jeff, you want to go first?
I was about to say, you better not cut me off, Deathman, you son of a bitch. Anyways, yeah, I'm Jeff. Just call me Jeff, man. I'm telling you right now, I would be the most arrogant prick out there if I actually expected anybody here to freaking call me True Knowledge, man. Come on.
All right, Lord Deathman.
So only when you're in trouble. Gotcha.
Yes, I am the Lord Deathman, but you can drop the honorific. You can just go with Deathman if that's easier for you. I'm a longtime Star Trek fan, and I just am very grateful for the opportunity to talk with Jermaine and Jeff here, who I've met on other podcasts, on other shows. We were talking MCU stuff just the other night, and they told me about this particular show. I watched a couple of episodes on the channel. Great work, guys. And yeah, just happy to be talking about this episode.
Well, let me say this, Lord Deathman. I love calling you Lord Death. There's just something about saying Lord Death.
I get to keep my honorific. Awesome. Let's keep the Lord and Lord Deathman.
All right. So, Lord Death, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts about this? What evidence do we have
Hey,
that leads us to
Jermaine,
believe?
it's always good to know that if you ever end up in hell at the end of the day, at least Lord Deathman's down there to kick it with you.
Couple brewskis. Yes. All right. So what evidence do we have that leads us to believe the DMA is indeed a weapon? Or is this some experiment that's gone wrong?
You know, I don't really think that there is any evidence. I'm just going to kind of dovetail on what Marie was saying. Either way, we're lacking data in a data-centric world, a data-centric society. Data's supposed to be telling us everything, but we always have Burnham, who's good for a good gut reaction, right? This is what I think it is, and this is what I think we should do.
And we're going to do that
Yeah,
regardless of anything
no
else.
matter what, no matter what. Yeah. So our lovable rule breaker. But that being said, I think the jury's still out. What I really liked about this episode that I think is related to your question, Jermaine, is that this is an episode that really sort of puts Federation values front and center. You know, do we treat this as a first contact situation, or do we treat this as a weapon of mass destruction that's about to tear apart the galaxy? And for the first time in a long time, I have to say, I was ready to agree with Burnham. We really do need to treat this like a first contact scenario. And we need to go out on a limb and really see what's there first. Instead of doing a Kirk, we need to try a Picard here.
Interesting. Very interesting. Okay, so as I said before, we have two different tracks going on with this particular episode. All right, so we have the Federation, don't they? And then we also have what's going on inside Discovery.
Yeah, but I think Jeff's got a question on top of that. So let's go with Jeff.
Yeah, you guys got to explain this to me so I understand the history or the backstory of this or whatever. I've been very perplexed by this. Why is Sonequa Martin Green's character called Michael Burnham? Like,
she's named after her father.
Ah, okay. All right. Okay. That's all I needed.
They were hoping for a boy, Jeff. And it didn't work out.
Weird. I mean, you know, she was about to get intimate.
Only to be raised by Vulcans.
Yeah, right. I mean, her and Book were about to get after her real quick, and he was like, "I love you, Michael," and I was like, "What?"
You know what? I always wondered about that, and I always thought that maybe somewhere, maybe in the original show, they had like an off reference to the first person who had who was a mutineer or whatever, and they named the person, but you know they wanted to include it in the storyline, so they had to change the name to boy's name but a female character. That's what I always assumed.
To my knowledge, actually, what they were trying to do is they were trying to play a little bit fast and loose with concepts of gender, and so the idea is they're going to give her this masculine name, and really is just to tie to her father, which is necessary in light of the fact that she loses him in that Klingon raid.
Yeah, a boy named Sue, right?
Yeah, I just want to point out that if I had been at that conference, at that meeting with all the different representatives from the other planets and whatnot, I'm straight, but with some of those alien creatures that were going on there and whatnot, I don't care whether they're female or male. I would still get down with them.
It's good to know that's what you were focused on.
Yeah,
good to know.
That makes Jeff eminently qualified to be a part of this discussion.
Yeah,
Jeff, was it the butterfly people? Jeff?
I've got a hotness chart. It ranges from Andorian to Tellarite.
Yeah,
wait,
man,
Jeff,
it's all good. If they got different, yeah.
Was it the white guy, the butterfly guy?
No, I mean, if they've got different words for that kind of stuff in their language, if they're like, I'm a yak, then as long as I'm feeling it, it's all good.
That's good.
I don't know, guys. We're getting Will's gone full Princess Jasmine on us. We got to pull back a little.
All right, let's move on. All right. So at one point after Stamets, and I'm moving from Federation and I'm going into the Zora storyline. All right. Mm-hmm. So at one point after Stamets raises objections, Zora offers a compromise. Zora introduces a failsafe that will terminate her sentience if used. This failsafe would be given to the crew to use if Zara refuses to follow any future orders given to her. Given what we know and understand about Federation mores and principles, Brian, describe for us the potential ramifications of such an act.
Well, I think essentially it was to put the crew's mind at ease, but ultimately it boils down to the fact that she was willing to sacrifice herself for the rest of the crew if necessary. And I think that speaks volumes as to what type of and I use the term loosely, person that Zora is. And, exactly how she regarded the rest of her family or the crew of the Discovery. But the fact that she was willing to go to those lengths to put their mind at ease, it's like, well, I mean, it's like, would we be willing to do the same thing if we were under the same constraints? Would we be willing to say, all right, well, if I don't live up to your expectations, here's a gun, shoot me, or something. So, I mean, it kind of, in my mind, it's like she's willing to go that far just to prove that she can be trusted.
Gotcha. William, what are your thoughts regarding the potential ramifications of destroying a sentient life?
Every Trek episode has its episode where, well, every Trek show has its episode where there's that one where we have to discuss, is it or is it not a life form? And if you go back and watch certain episodes, and I believe it was the one where there was one where Data is on trial, there's one where the Doctor's on trial, so now we have Zora on trial.
Measure of a Man and
How is this any
author.
different? Thank you. So, with all that being
I have
said,
one job on this podcast. One.
To give us the titles of episodes. Excellent.
Look, I'm good at remembering first episodes and last episodes. Don't ask me to remember anything in the middle. like parallels who? But honestly, as far as the ramifications go, it would be immeasurable, in my opinion, because not only are you terminating a life, which is a crime within itself, you're terminating a new form of life. Just because you don't understand something doesn't mean you destroy it or destroy what makes it, or in this case, her. So we don't want to take that away from Zora. So I think I don't think I could put it into words what would happen if they did. I mean, I forgot his name. Guy with the glasses made it quite clear.
Dr.
What the
Kovich.
alternate. Thank you. I really like him. I wish I had like a figure of him to hang on my window or something to just stare at people as they come to the door.
He's like Dr. Strange. He's like Dr. Strange. He's like, he'll just give it to you.
I would hope.
Dude,
I hope
go
that
watch
he is literally
Scanners and then come back and talk to us. Just go watch Scanners.
I hope that he is. I low key hope that he is a descendant of Boothby. That's what I'm thinking. He's got to be. He's absolutely got to be. Like, period. You can't talk shit. I mean, anyway, that's beside the point. But yeah. No, definitely not destroy her, because I was just because of Calypso, we knew she wasn't gonna get destroyed. We already knew that. But as far as establishing it to where she too can be seen, and they didn't necessarily have to they metaphoricized it, they made it into a parable, if you will, but you don't necessarily have to identify it with a certain community in our time here. It could potentially be anyone. And that's what makes it interesting. It's just like, this is like open domain here, this particular story. Mm-hmm. So that's what I'm thinking.
Lord Death, I heard you chuckling, man. What's going on? What are you thinking?
Well, I was thinking that, if you're raised and indoctrinated in this fandom, the death of sentient life is just unacceptable. And, while Zora is also different, she's also unique. There is no other life form like Zora, which also makes the termination of her sentience unacceptable, right? So, that being said, she's this amalgamation of the Discovery ship computer along with the sphere data and all of these other memories and new experiences that she's been having along the way. So the preservation of her life should be equally as important as the preservation of the entire Milky Way galaxy when talking in the context of the DMA and her hesitance to sort of give up those coordinates.
You've got a point there, because like what a lot of people don't realize is from Measure of a Man is that Bruce Maddox actually has good intentions when he comes and tries to take Data off the Enterprise, because he's worried that Data is going to get destroyed. And so he's trying to make sure that that type of sanctions can continue. I mean, he's a dick and he's very bad at his job. But yeah, that's inherent to Federation mores.
All right. So it looks like no one else is going to jump on. This is what we're going to do right now. So,
once again, Maria, stop the conversation.
We're actually moving along. We're actually moving along, sticking to the schedule this time.
Yeah.
So we're doing really good right now, guys.
Yeah.
Look at us demonstrating personal growth.
You never explained to me the whole dichotomy of how this stuff worked on here, so I didn't know whether I could say anything else or what was going on.
So excellent question.
Man, a month ago,
what happens
hell
is
would have
this.
broken loose.
So excellent question. So I'll ask a question and I'll direct it towards an individual person, and then the person after that person gets like a full minute to respond, and then after that, anybody at any point can respond.
Okay.
Basically, Jermaine had to come up with a way to rein me in, because there's only so much that I can do to keep the snark buried.
Well, I
was on the verge of getting the channel banned because I was cursing too much.
That was the least of your sins.
I'm a changed person. I am more is spiritual with my kacha and my pa. Okay, so I am just there. I am
Give me that ear. Give me that.
Oh God, no! Full dad mode on you, William. Like, no.
Look, let's do this. Let's keep it moving. All right. So what I wanted to do to basically say, hey, look, thank you, Jeff, because Jeff brought me on to his show, which actually inspired this show. Believe it or not, like not many of you all know this.
What a surprise! I would make something like that happen, man.
So I just wanted to give Jeff about 2 minutes to introduce his show to Star Trek, the Star Trek world, and then also to tell us a little bit about himself. So Jeff, tell us a little bit about MCU's Bleeding Edge.
I want to shout out Bandmade and show off my Bandmade t-shirt first. I just got my first Bandmade t-shirts in the mail today or whatever, and Bandmade is like literally the dopest live like rock band in the world right now. So like if you don't know about Bandmade yet, you better come correct. You know what I'm saying? And go check that shit out. Because I'm telling you right now, it's their sound is pretty impactful. They're certainly very unique. But anyways, so I'm Jeff, and I'm the co-host of the MCU's Bleeding Edge YouTube channel and podcast. And basically, I wanted to just mention that off that last topic, of the whole sentient life deal and everything and whatnot. I was like, I didn't find any of that whole conversation and like that set of scenes all that impactful really or whatever. I was whatever about it. I was more concerned with the whole deal with like the whatever girl or boy or whatever, the guardian person or whatever that's like is kind of Andromedous looking or whatever, like
you mean Gray?
Yeah, I was just trying to figure out, I mean, hey, I'm down with the whole gender bending woke stuff, like it's cool with me, but like I was trying to figure out what was going on with that person, like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
short answer, he's a he. It's good.
Is it? Okay. I couldn't tell. Oh, and also, the some of the aliens that they have on the show, like the Council of the Worlds and everything and whatnot, are seriously interesting looking, man. They got some interesting looking aliens over there.
It's kind of nice, I gotta say. Like, I mean, they've diverged so significantly from the like, let's see how creatively we can make forehead ridges aesthetic of the 90s.
I mean, but is it okay to say that I cracked it like the hell I was looking at some of them the first time? I mean, I don't want to be disrespectful.
I mean, let me guess. You cracked the hell up at the DeLorean, the guy that's got like the...
I don't know. I mean, there was just a couple of them where I looked at them and I was like, are you fucking kidding me?
It's sci-fi.
I guess we're so... I guess we're so used to it that it doesn't even bother us anymore. All right, so let's move. Thank you, Jeff. Hopefully, you've explained your
Oh,
channel
Jermaine,
to us.
I want to say thank you for letting me come on the show, man. And I'm really glad. Hey, at the end of the day, there's nothing cooler or like more like humbling than like knowing that like anything that I did with you in our friendship or whatever, caused you to end up putting together something this wonderful, like, and putting all these people together and everything and building these connections and these relationships. Like to feel like I had any part in that in any way is just like humbling. And I think that that's just like a result of like how quality like our friendship is.
That's awesome. Welcome to you and to Lord DM over there to our sandbox.
LDM's good too.
Lord DM.
Lord DM. You know what? I kind of like Lord DM.
I like
The Lord of the DMs.
It's just
Oh
like,
my God.
Right? I mean,
actually,
like,
Is that why he doesn't
that's
show his
very
face? It's
catchy.
like,
I mean,
We're kinda
everybody coming
we're
into
kinda like
this
a
is going to be
team.
like, this is a very different kind of podcast than I thought it was going to be with Lord DM in the title, but like, okay, we can work with this.
Deathman and me are kind of like an act.
Yeah.
He's my straight guy. He kind of reins me in
Indeed.
and whatnot. You know, 'cause,
He's the ringmaster, and I'm just a day player on the bleeding edge.
hey, if I was as cool as Lord Deathman, oh my God.
I mean, you would also have to have like a random skull instead of a Naruto hat.
all right, let's move on. Let's get back to it. All right. So while the Federation is deliberating what to do about the DMA and its possible ramifications, Mr. Tarka turns to Booker and tells him, "Know your moment." Tarka has a device that will destroy what's at the center of the DMA. And let me tell you something. I don't care what you say. Really planned this moment from the very beginning with Tarka and tried to get Book to provide the emotional appeal that was necessary to get the Federation on board with destroying the DMA.
I swear,
think-
I really need you to walk back from your anti-Cardi stance. Like, I really do.
I think you know how I feel.
All right,
Okay?
Miles.
All right.
I mean, she
realize-
can't help having been born part Cardassian, my dude. Like, come on.
Look, I realize the rest of you don't believe that, but you know, it's okay. She is the devil. I need you to understand. She is the devil.
First of all,
Whoa, somebody
First of
came
all.
prepared.
first of all, Jermaine, this is the look I'm giving you.
You trying to tell me to shut the fuck up? That's okay. No.
No. That's the sheer fucking hubris, lady. Like, you have the sheer fucking hubris to keep calling her a Cardi. Come on.
But she also said shut the fuck up.
Honestly, because I'm trying
She
to.
may or may
first of
not
all,
be
I
my
never
favorite
said that.
character from Picard. Like, I'm not even gonna lie.
Bloody Cardis
What
can't
I'm trying
be
to tell
trusted.
you is, how did you decide for me that I didn't believe you when you said that she was the devil? I thought we had already cleared this up. Now I'm trying to be well behaved over here, Jermaine, and you're really bringing me out my shell.
I'm
right
talking
now,
about the
putting
majority.
everyone-
I'm not
what-
talking about you. I'm talking about the majority.
No, he's
You
looking at
included
me.
me in the
He's looking at me
conversation,
because
though.
I do not, in fact, think she's the devil.
I got you, Marie. That's fine, but I'm talking about him.
Y'all, I've just been written off. I don't know how
Okay,
to feel about
yes,
this.
I reached my hand up. I am not talking to you. I am talking to you.
Sorry, Jeff. You know, we tried to behave for you,
I'm trying to be
Lord
cold,
Deathman, but
But
like,
I digress. In response to Tarka, Burnham highlights for everyone that the possible result of such an action would cause an isolated burn. This potential burn would affect warp travel in the specific sector the explosion were to occur in, but also has the potential to affect warp travel all throughout the galaxy. Brian,
Yes.
what evidence do we have that the Federation and non-Federation worlds are primed to go against the regular standing orders of the Federation?
Okay. Well, basically, as far as I can understand it, everybody's scared. Marie pointed out this thing eats planets, and it does it like that. So people, yeah, exactly. It's basically like a spatial Pac-Man of sorts. And essentially, everybody's scared that maybe their planet's going to be next or something like that. So they're willing to jump to drastic solutions to try to solve this problem. And I think Burnham is basically trying to get everybody to realize that it may not be the result of an actual attack, and we need to come about this from a Federation standpoint of let's go talk to them and find out what's going on. And she even says, not everybody here is from Federation worlds, but I think we can all learn from its ideals. So that's my piece.
Jeff, I'm interested. What were your thoughts about the episode so far? Like at this particular point in time, what were your thoughts about the episode so far?
Can you tell me where the episode we're talking about exactly?
We're kind of in the middle at this point. At this point,
Do you remember the cat fight between the two that were dating? Because we're right about there.
Yes. Okay.
I called that shit out.
I know.
Everyone
I hate
did.
you for it. I hate
Everyone
you
did.
all. I hate you all.
No,
With love,
it's okay.
but I hate you all.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. So Jeff, what were your thoughts at this particular?
So basically, I mean, I was kind of like, kind of trying to acclimate myself to the show and everything and whatnot, because I'm just going to put it out there as a disclaimer. Like, I've still got to go back and watch the first 3 seasons. I started the episode 1 of season 4 to get ready for the show, and I watched all the way from 1 to 7 today. You know what I mean? So hey, everybody, give me props for sitting down and grinding through all those episodes, man. Like that was
Absolutely, brother.
You know what I'm saying?
No. I will give you props when you make it all the way through season 1.
Hey man, I had to get stoned like 17 times during that period. So I mean, geez, put a lot of stress on me.
And let me know if you would sleep with one of those Klingons.
Well, I mean, I'll sleep with 3 Klingons if you want to throw them all at me, bruh. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? Like,
No. Go back and
6.
watch, and then come back and report.
No.
Because 3 times 2 equals 6. Okay.
Will, you're testing the wrong man.
Listen, I like the challenge when it comes down to it at the end of the day. So I mean,
It's not like he knows what I'm talking about.
Whatever those Klingon chicks have got, like whatever they're working with or whatever, at the end of the day, they can bust it open on me, and I'll go ahead and teach them something that I know. I'll tell you right now, I'm not afraid.
He's trying to.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? I would just have to step up and. But no.
Manny, you went to that terrible TNG episode.
Oh. But no, I mean, I was trying to acclimate myself with the show still, you know what I mean, at the same time while paying attention to the issues of the episode. So at that point, I was kind of trying to understand the dynamics and the relationships, I guess, that are going on interconnectively between all the different characters and whatnot and everything that pop out throughout the course of the episode. Trying to understand the dynamic with the president of the Federation or whatever she's called, and her dynamic with the captain, with Burnham, and the chemistry and everything and dynamic with the different cast members and characters and whatnot.
Note, Jermaine, I have yet to hear Dirty Cardi once.
Oh, so anyways, there really isn't anything to me that I can think of that stood out to me that I would really talk about. But I guess I was just kind of rolling with how the episode was unfolding, and at the same time trying to still figure out kind of the whole vibe of the show, still, you know what I mean? And I mean, from what I understand of the first 3 seasons, there's characters that aren't even there anymore, from those seasons and whatnot and everything. So it looks like I've got a lot of back work to go do.
Naturally. And
Michelle Yao was on the damn show, man. Why did I have to miss out on that?
She's amazing.
Why?
She's amazing.
Don't worry. We're sure we will see her again in the future. I'm pretty sure.
Hopefully.
So, can I field this?
Yes, please.
Because I have a thing I want to say.
On.
So Michael Burnham, cleaves really hard to the spirit of the Federation here. Even though she knows it's going to cost her extensively, because there's this entire proxy discussion that's going on, which is basically Book and Burnham breaking up. But Burnham's exhortation is that we should be the best versions of ourselves. no matter how difficult that may be, no matter how much it may cost us, that we are better in the long run for doing that. And that really, really, really boils it down to what the Federation and what I think Roddenberry's original vision, aside from the whole sex thing, really was for the future. And that's one of the things that makes Star Trek so unique. It's not dystopian. Like, it conceives of a humanity that gets its shit together and wants to do better.
Not only wants to do better, but has done better significantly.
Mm-hmm. And even when they don't, even when they stumble, even when they fail, they get up and they keep on trying, which I think is also significant.
So I just want to pick up real quick on something that Manny said in the chat. He said, "Can this compare to an isolytic explosion?" So I do recall what Manny said. I think it was on the last live show, maybe when we went on that kind of like short rant on technology, and I think that's what Manny was talking about. And I think this is basically Burnham responding to what we were talking about, and I think that kind of confirms what Manny was saying, that this.
So yes, Manny, Burnham was actually taking notes on our last show and was drafting from your notes.
Yo, it's like 4 different things from our last show that came up that we talked about that was in this particular show.
Yeah. I know, man. Like, I was just like, whoa. But I think this is isolytic technology. I think Ruan Tarka makes that point, that this is isolytic technology, and he's legitimately going for the easiest solution that's going to get him the power that he needs to jump universes, and he doesn't really give a shit if that means ripping apart a sector.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's willing to do whatever it takes. Yeah.
And you kind of have to ask yourself, like, when you were on the side of the dude that wants to rip space apart, if you are making good choices.
That's what I'm saying. That's all that I'm saying. But look, that's a
he gives me Eobard Thawne vibes.
Oh, he gives you what?
Eobard
Thawne.
Wrong fandom.
He is Judas.
Look,
she's the devil, and
no, because in season 1 of Flash.
No. Do you know who he is? Do you know what his previous role was?
No, I don't.
Sadavir Ehrenreich on The Expanse.
Oh, I don't remember his character.
That is Sean Doyle.
See, I didn't know that.
Wait a minute, the
I'm
rich
just
guy?
telling you, he gives me them vibes.
No, he's the guy who was closely aligned with Shohreh Aghdashloo's character, and ultimately he ended up conspiring with the Mals, and he gets taken down because he was involved in some really shady nonsense. Okay. So apparently Sean Doyle is literally just making a career out of being this guy.
He is Judas. He's Judas.
See, in my opinion, I think Book and the other guy are kind of. I don't think their motives are aligned. I think they're working towards the same ultimate goal, which is to destroy the DMA, but they're doing it for
different reasons.
Way different reasons. Tarka.
I think Ruan Tarka is taking advantage of Book's intense grief.
Right. But also, Book is taking advantage of Tarka's ability to destroy the DMA. So they're essentially.
But again, we're supposing that that's accurate. We are giving Tarka the benefit of the doubt and saying that, yes, this is in fact something he can do. There's no reason to assume that.
Agreed. I mean, he said it himself. There's no guarantee it'll work, but we have to try. But his motives for wanting to try are starkly different from everyone else's.
I think Tarka really represents the Star Trek's version of the mad scientist. There's always that scientist in Star Trek that wants to sort of break some theoretical boundary for their own glory, right? It really doesn't have much to do with the status quo or helping everybody out. And I'm kind of liking that side of it, because as a fan who sort of misses the more conservative aspects of this fandom. I do think Tarka brings that back. There's a calculatingness to him, a ruthlessness to it that we're not seeing so much in this somewhat more inclusive and I would call softer vision in the third dawn of Star Trek. Whenever I think of Rillick, who I think of them as counterparts, I really do get special feelings because a hybrid Bajoran.
I feel like you're going to have to elaborate on those special
bloody Cardi, not a dirty Cardi, but a bloody Cardi.
Oh my God.
You've got a Bajoran, a human, and Cardassian hybrid. That's going to make for an interesting night out.
Jermaine.
Yeah, I kind of like her. I don't know how the rest of the
DM, you were literally saddling us with this crazy for the rest of the run.
Please,
Thanks,
please. Man. Yeah. I would. I'd hit that.
Death man.
Awesome. We're going to filter down to like her tappability.
Peace and long life.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Like Ruan Tarka drives me nuts because Ruan Tarka is literally that asshole man in the center of the room. That's been like, I know everything. I'm the best. Like,
yeah, but they make him relatable.
You see this guy at tech conferences.
Marie, all I gotta say. Marie, honey. All I have to say is the best sex is with the most toxic people, and that man.
Thank you, Will.
They make him
the guy's kind of a dick. Yeah,
they do make him relatable at times.
I mean, and he knows it, and he doesn't care.
Exactly. Right.
That's what makes him good.
I am literally not going to sleep with somebody who has no investment in whether or not I orgasm. So no, pass.
No one said you had to marry him.
I think really,
I'm not even talking
best
like
sex.
Like I'm literally talking like
almost.
If I am going to go through the effort of having a one night stand with this dude, by God, I need to be guaranteed like at least one orgasm.
Here's the thing. I think Tarka's the kind of guy who just
you might have 10 that you know.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Every damn woman deserves at least one orgasm anytime you do anything with her. Come on now. Like, I'm telling you right now, if you're a damn man and you can't give a goddamn woman at least one freaking orgasm when you play with her, then bro, you need to just wrap it up, kid. Just quit.
Note he says at least one. Note he says at least one.
Because I mean, dude, I'm pulling 47, 65 out of them left and right. So I mean, at that point, you brothers at least got to pull off one, bro. Come on, dog.
You know what? Even I'm not touching that one. Like, I want everybody to note. I am not chasing down that rabbit hole.
And this is the rabbit hole. Okay? You are right under me. Okay? Like, I'm about to pull you on down here and have a talk with you.
Like I said, Jermaine, this episode represents personal growth.
If I was a woman and I met a dude with
growth. Marie, I am trying.
Okay. All right. So let's move on. All right. So we see this great scene. Y'all, we see this great scene in the episode where we're going between both storylines. On Discovery, we see them debating the merits of sentience and its ramifications. And at Federation headquarters, we see them debating the merits of basically overlooking the Prime Directive, something that has been the cornerstone of our understanding of Star Trek and its possible ramifications. William, this is your opportunity. Can you please compare and contrast what was happening there? Also, when you're done, can you also compare this episode with other pivotal moments within the Star Trek universe?
He's not asking you anything hard.
Funny. Okay, so I got the second question down packed. As far as the thank you, Manny. As far as the first question, can you reiterate that one more time?
Sure. It was your question. Can you please compare and contrast what's been happening there?
I got the second question. I just want the first one.
That was the first one.
Compare and contrast.
Yeah, compare and contrast what's happening between what's happening at Federation headquarters and what's happening with the Zora storyline.
Talk about the cinematography, dude.
Okay.
Lens flare.
I mean, it's
No, I'm sorry. We'll go for it, man. Go for it.
I feel like y'all are afraid for me to speak now. Like,
No,
it's
no,
okay.
I'm
It's
rooting
okay.
for you because I've got to come next. I've got to respond to you.
I
So,
bet.
like, I need you to pull out some
I
genius.
bet you will. Okay, as far as compare and contrast, yeah, let's start with the cinematography. It was beautiful. No, it was what the hell, Jermaine? Like,
What?
calm yourself, Barney. So, look, this is what I think. I think it was definitely well done. To compare both scenes, it was basically an establishment of trust, an exchange of information, an exchange, and then thus forming an
Y'all, Manny's
understanding.
behind the scenes
And you can see
twitching.
that there is doubt on both sides, and I will say, during this, as far as cinematography goes, I'm sorry, I got to give it a B minus. Like, because, and it's great, it was good, I'd watch it again, but it's just like there was some of it that, because I could tell what they were trying to do. They were trying to make one flowing, coherent phrase between, between the two characters, and I felt like it wasn't at 100%. I felt like it was like at 81, and that's fine. No cinematography is gonna be perfect. It's subject to opinion, but you can kind of see that between the two scenes. Now, as far as comparing it to Past Trek, this really gave me a lot of TOS movie vibes. Specifically the scenes. I mean, aside from Kittimer, I'm ignoring all that for now. It was when Kirk actually got demoted to captain, and I believe this was in The Voyage Home. That end scene, and you just saw this whole room just full of aliens from different. I won't say different all four corners of the galaxy, but definitely all four corners of the Alpha Quadrant. And I liked the aesthetic. I like how they did the makeup. I loved all of it, and they kept the blue. I'm really happy about that. There we go. So, I mean, yeah, that's a lot. Alpha is just a lot, but yeah. It really gave me a lot of those vibes, and I was just like, "Oh, cool! We're actually," and it's like I'm seeing growth in Michael Burnham again. Just like we had to see growth in Kirk. Which makes me very, very happy. So, we never actually saw the scene with the with when the Kittimer Accords were formed. We just saw the place where dude almost got shot. That didn't happen until after the Enterprise C. But so it's like really, really cool that isn't rushed like the end of Enterprise. It's really, really cool to see this. My question is, who do you I'm actually
Marie, let's go. Marie, let's go. Marie, let's go.
Hey, when by Federation and alien law,
listen.
13 is the legal age.
Wait, what?
Okay.
Not unless
this is not
you
that.
are in
This is not that
Okampan.
kind of podcast.
Not unless you are in Okampan.
Ugh. And then you're geriatric because they only live to 9. So Manny has commented on YouTube that he thinks this was heavy-handed, and I agree. I think it was, but I also think that the heavy-handed comparison is necessary to explore some of like the thematic development that we've got going here, because whereas Burnham and Book end up working at cross purposes and separating, what we've got with Stamets and Zora is a coming together. Which is perfectly in line with the thematic underpinnings of the rest of the series. You posited ages and ages ago, that the writer's room wanted to deal with some of the ramifications of COVID. And what they've been offering us up until this point has been a foil for how our actual response has gone, and with this whole idea that it is necessary for us to form a community, to link up with each other, that we need to work together in order to overcome this obstacle. And I think Book breaking away from that is going to be the exception that proves the rule going forward, because I do think that this particular season has been about embracing that sense of community, and the Federation fundamentally is about community and connection. So Tarka's not. I think it's significant here that Tarka's not offering book connection at all. Right? I mean, he even says, don't confuse friendship with being friendly. But he's not offering any of that to Book. He's basically offering a transactional relationship. And whereas Burnham is like, look, I get, you have this huge loss that you're coping with and not coping with fundamentally, but we're here for you. We are all invested in your well-being. And so there's this great moment in the trailer where Saru, and Manny has been behind Saru the entire freaking season. So go Manny. Where Saru actually looks at Burnham and he says, I think you're the only one that can pull him back. And that's it, right? Like, I mean, that's it. How do we reach out to these people who are angry and hurt and frustrated with all of these decisions? How do we extend that hand? So I think we're actually building up for a really major metaphor in the back half of season 4.
Excellent.
So this was a mid-season finale. This isn't.
Yes.
The next episode isn't going to be the last episode.
No, not at all. All right.
Okay.
So let's move because remember we have one more question and then we have our predictions. All right. So Brian, how do you think Zora being a member of the crew will affect the overall direction of the show? What might we explore as a result?
Okay, so basically, I think that with her joining Starfleet and becoming a member, like an official member of the crew, I think in the short term, it kind of assuages any doubts that the rest of the crew might have over her ability to follow orders or, any of that stuff. But in the long term, I think ultimately it's going to help her become more. It's going to help her come more into herself a little bit better, to figure out who she is as a, and I use the term loosely, a person on the show. But ultimately, long story short, we're getting a new character for all intents and purposes. And basically, with all the emotions and everything like that entails. And I think in a small part, we don't have to worry about, whether this new life form is going to go away or not, unless, of course, something catastrophic happens and the ship gets destroyed. But then again, it wouldn't be Discovery. But going forward, I think ultimately we're going to be able to see how the characters of Discovery deal with having a new life form and essentially guiding her into becoming what she, her ultimate self, as it were. And I think that's going to be rather interesting to watch how she evolves as an individual.
And eventually has the good taste to fall in love with Aldous Hodge. Let's not overlook that.
About to
Now, that's a fair point.
If I may, can I ask Brian a question?
Go for it.
May I ask Brian a question?
Yeah, by all means.
Between this particular episode and Calypso, how far do you think Zora has to go now? Or how close do you think she is?
She said
refresh my memory. Refresh my memory.
Years.
Calypso. Which one was that?
That's a short trek. Yeah.
I actually haven't seen any of the short treks, so I can't really comment on.
She specifically said in the short trek, she said it's been over 900 years.
Okay.
Look, it could have been over 900 years since the time they went in that wormhole. Okay, that's open to interpretation until I see any other evidence that proves otherwise.
I don't know.
Now,
I am still holding out that we're gonna get like Aldous Hodge back. Like I'm really hoping that he's floating around out there and we're gonna get him.
do you want me to
y'all
send
were
him
talking
like
about
some
having
fan mail for you?
I'm sorry. I thought y'all were talking about somebody having 900 years of not having sex. I was like, damn.
No,
No.
we're talking about the
essentially,
computer.
that's
We're
what
talking
Zora
about the
is.
computer.
Yeah, Manny does have a good point that Zora, that when they were talking about extracting her, they said that she could be put into another form, whether it be a synth body or some other kind of.
I mean,
thing
we
like
know
that.
they can build a golem, so
Yeah, but the question is, I mean, the thing is like basically Zora herself said, "This is what I am. I am the ship." And she didn't want to be anything else but the ship. So once again we come back to choice. Does she choose to become another form, or does she choose to remain where she is?
do you want Skynet? Because this is how you get Skynet.
Well, see, that's what
I don't
Stamets
know.
was worried
This is a
about,
little
because
different than Skynet.
he was comparing Zora to Control. That's what he was worried about being the end result of Zora being able to gain sentience, only in this case with emotional ramifications, as well as just being able to rely on logic.
Okay, Jeff.
All right,
real
Jeff. I
quick.
feel like you're going to take this sideways. So,
Yes, and
I
so
am
that's
ready
why-
for the detour to Albuquerque.
So that's why Lord DM is going to come right behind him
we
and
are
kind
not
of like
doing that.
smooth
We
everything
are-
over. So come on, Jeff.
We
Let's
are
go.
doing really good.
Are you sure?
Let's
I mean,
go.
you never know. I might have something really like connected to the show or something to get here. I mean,
No, we're
Oh,
waiting
okay.
for the sex joke. So come on.
No. I wasn't even.
Hey,
This is
I'm in
reverse
charge of those,
psychology,
thank
Jeff.
you.
Okay. All right. So Zola, right? So
Zora.
Zora, we're so concerned about about her tangibility in terms of like her sentient life and everything and whatnot. What if she started like having like sexual conversations?
There
with,
we go.
with other
Jeff delivers.
crew members or whatever, right? And all of a sudden
I've
she
just
started,
met
like,
you, and I knew that was coming.
and all of a sudden she started pretending
Ba-dum-bum.
and like saying that she was pregnant. And like that some dude on the crew or whatever, like, was the father or whatever. Like, I mean, how do you handle that situation? Like, I mean,
Lord DM, how do you handle that
give you credit.
situation?
I gotta give you credit, Jeff. You have taken us past disapproving Jermaine into flummoxed Jermaine. So, like, well done.
no, you're kidding me. You should see him when he comes on my show. I have him where he's almost falling off his seat laughing and everything.
I mean, we just get angry Daddy Jermaine, but no, you took him way beyond that.
As lascivious as Jeff's comments may be on the surface, they actually do have merit. If Zora is to move into a new form,
I hear you, straight man. Come
there
on.
is there's the possibility for her to explore sexual relationships, reproduction, all of those types of things.
I mean, if she's
come
not
on
real,
the table. If
and she's hitting me up for child support, like, is that tangible?
There's no currency in the future world of Star Trek. There's no money.
Years in the future.
I will also say you actually have to prove a tangible relationship between the paternal parent and the actual offspring in order to establish paternity and get child support. Not that I'm a lawyer or anything.
Okay.
William.
Lord, they trying to bring me out of my shell. They trying to bring Sebastian back. I just locked him away.
Oh no, let's keep Sebastian. All right, so let's.
I mean, the last time we tried this whole like computer romance, it didn't go well because it ended up going like completely left and involved Seven and Chakotay of all people.
Well, that's where we're going. If
had a good one though, she had it good.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
I would take the Doctor over Chakotay like 7 days of the week.
This is too much.
There it is.
But I thought we've established this.
There it is.
Like,
Jermaine is
he has a
like,
nice
why?
butt.
Why do I let
We
this
saw
person
it
on my
in
show?
that one episode. We saw that nice brown booty. I mean, come on. Like, no,
Wow.
see,
Marie. So far, much of this season has been built around the exploration of community. Do we think this arc undermined those themes?
Like I said earlier, I really think this is going to prove the exception. This is going to be the exception that proves the rule. Do I necessarily know that Book and Burnham are going to be able to repair this huge betrayal and this huge differential? I don't know. I would like to believe they can, because by God, I would like somebody in Star Trek to have a successful romance that's not like Riker and Troy. But
our favorite couple.
Some days. But I really think that what they're doing with Book is they're positioning Book to be this kind of outlier, this kind of person who has been radicalized by his trauma. And we understand his trauma, right? Like, we can sympathize with Book and we understand reach into your soul, Jermaine. Reach into your soul. Find some empathy, my dude.
No, I'm responding to something in the chat.
Okay, right. Because we empathize with Book's loss. I mean, Book has lost everything, and so it's also completely normal in his culture to expect vengeance, right? Like, I mean, he even acknowledges that to the vision of his father, that it would be expected of him on Quajon to avenge this loss.
That was poignant, by the way. That whole thing was very poignant, just to put it out there.
Yeah, speaker of the
everybody,
dead
Jeff has emotional depth. Well done.
Predictions.
No. Predictions. I want to hear what he's got to say.
When Discovery returns from its winter hiatus, y'all, we got 2 minutes left.
That's all.
We got 2 minutes left. What do we believe Species 10C will be like? Let's start with Brian. Brian, you go first.
Well, we already know that they're beyond the galactic barrier. Beyond that, we know that they are capable of creating an anomaly that is massive and also has the destructive capability to destroy an entire planet in the blink of an eye. And ultimately, I mean, we don't know what their intentions are yet, but we can kind of guess. That being said, we don't know what they're going to look like yet, because there have been several species that have come from beyond the galactic barrier, or very near to it. For example, the machine species. Yeah, the machine species that created the ship for V'ger, they were very near the galactic barrier. The whale that almost destroyed Earth. So, I mean, it could be anything. But once again, we can't figure out what their intentions are until we go and say hi, essentially.
Marie.
So I'm actually going to throw back to Let That Be Your Last Battlefield, which is one of my favorite episodes from the original series. And I kind of wonder if Species 10C is still extant. If, in fact, their pursuit of either a weapon or an experiment or whatever has backfired so significantly upon them that not only did they lose control of it to the extent that it breached our galaxy, but perhaps it did substantial damage to them as well.
Lord DM. I'm sorry. I thought that was your end.
Well, as far as a prediction about species C10, is it?
10C.
10C.
10C. I don't really have one other than to say that it's all going to turn into some type of cosmic level 3's company style misunderstanding. I don't really think it matters whether C3 is humanoid, hostile, or not. The DMA itself has really just been the sort of glue surrounding the themes of community and inclusiveness for this season. It's it's the MacGuffin, right? So I'm not necessarily making a prediction about what
Mhm.
that species is going to be like so much as what the consequences of whatever happens is going to be. I mean, there's only really one character on the show personally affected by what the DMA has wrought. To everyone else, it's a nice thought experiment. DMA bad, destroying planets, etc., etc. Book really is the only one with a real personal connection to anything that the DMA has happened with the DMA. So, keeping in line with the ideas of community, that this sort of mid-season ender did what it had to do in terms of creating a little bit of tension, a little bit of mystery, putting the Zora thing out for us to sort of chew on until February 10th. But I really see the prediction is that we're going to see huge evolutions in these characters once we come back from the break. I think Zora's going to try on a humanoid suit and see how that goes for her. In the spirit of this, like this Star Trek is more fantasy than speculative. I've always liked it a bit more on the speculative side, and there have been some pretty heavy use of what if I get to pick my own body, which feels more like a fantasy than an actual speculation. But to end rant, yeah,
I
I
don't know.
think we're
Anne
going to
McCaffrey
see.
would disagree with you.
I'm sorry, who is it that would?
Anne McCaffrey.
Oh, is that so?
Yeah, like her entire the culmination of her Ship Who Sang series.
Indeed. Well, I put that out there lovingly to the group to sort of say to say that we've spent a lot of time with Gray and Adira, seeing things through their lens, understanding their experience, their I just feel like there's a particular bent in terms of the perspective on this episode, on this season so far, in terms of the ideas of community and inclusion. And I don't really think that the writers or that the series itself is going to put too much emphasis on what 10C is at the end of the day. Similar to what the Burn was. Burn, big tantrum.
Jeff. Oh, sorry, Jeff.
I agree.
Yeah. I believe that the culprits of the 10C are third wave SJW feminists that have come together and in their sheer hatred for men, they have become the MBA.
Wow. Jeff actually drove Will away from the camera. Like, well done, my
He's
dude.
going to get his water bottle. He went off.
No. Like that is mic drop worthy.
Oh man.
He turned the lights off.
What is
Jeff,
that?
were you done?
Is that positive? Is that like a compliment to me? Or
No.
Not at all.
It is not.
Oh, okay. Jeez, I thought I was winning an award there for a minute.
Oh yeah, you won an award, all right. No, for real. Go
All
ahead.
right.
I'm like that. Just go ahead.
Which award would that be, sir? Biggest player in the
We
game?
can go about this.
What up?
Yeah, let's say
Yes,
that.
that's
say
it,
that.
Jeff. That's
You know
it.
what? Yeah. Yeah.
William, prediction.
Absolutely. I will give
Prediction,
you a pet
William?
card.
Prediction.
Okay, prediction about 10C. All right. Before I say this, a little backstory, and I kind of mentioned it in the chat. This had better not be no small hiccup. This better not be no accident. This better not the most this needs to be is a trial run for some outer species, okay, for what they are doing. Because I ain't gonna lie, it pissed me off to find out a Kelpian that was sad over losing his mama. Not saying I don't know what it's like, because I do, but that pissed me off to no end to know that a little baby Kelpian blew up half the galaxy with one cry. All that being said, I have my own prediction. It's a little far-fetched, but I don't care. So I want to connect, and I've said this before. I'll say it again. I want to connect the motion picture to the evil machines in Picard and Discovery. I think it's the machines from that live in a whole other galaxy, and we got a glimpse of them in the motion picture because that's where they send V'ger back to. Okay, and to be honest with you, V'ger, that whole cloud wasn't that different than what we got now. It was not that different. I do not know why we did not have that conversation. The only difference is it threw a plasma ball at you and you dissipated. Which one do you want to be? Disintegrated or destroyed to bits? To me, it's the same giant cloud that just comes in and out of nowhere until it dissipates. That's
which gets me closest to versus Kambata.
So as far as
Gone
Picard
too
goes,
soon.
As far as Picard goes,
right?
Thank you. As far as Picard goes, we see that little red-black tear in the fabric of space-time where we see little tentacles coming through, and you knew they were not in our galaxy. You just knew it, okay? Otherwise, we would have been heard of them. And now I'm thinking, hey, maybe that same species, they just happen to be called 10C, almost sounding like a distinct version of 3PO, and now they want to test run, hey, let's see what happens if we send a space tornado all through the galaxy just to rain hell and high water on these people, just to see how much we can terrify them. By the way, on top of that prediction, as far as the prediction about Michael Burnham and Cleveland Booker, I'm glad his name is Cleveland Booker's relationship. I think they are going to come back together. They were separated because of President Devil Bitch, and they're going to come back together because of Tarka. The reason I think that is because Booker's going to see the asshole that Tarka really is, and then they're going to come back to the fold. They're going to, be back together and all this other bullshit. Because to me, I think Tarka's the real bad guy. That's just what I think. Okay, now what else I gotta say?
So I think that's it. I think we're gonna call this section in the future rants. But real quickly, I'm gonna give my prediction.
For me?
I'm thinking this whole thing is really just a device to allow Star Trek to move into another realm, meaning another galaxy, and perhaps this galaxy is chaotic and deserving of order. I'm thinking it's a great way to introduce Section 31 into this new galaxy where another federation of sorts could be introduced.
Jermaine, your agenda is showing.
Your whole agenda is showing.
Hey,
you know how we feel about those.
Look, agendas. Y'all, this ends our sixth live episode of Trekker's Delight. As I mentioned earlier in the show, Discovery is going on a mid-season hiatus. We won't see Discovery until February 10th, but don't stop watching us because we are committed to giving you the content of all things Star Trek. On next week, prepare for a live show from my friends who will give us content through our show, Black Trek. We're still going to provide you with additional content throughout the week. As a reminder, we'll post every Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday on YouTube and Anchor, Spotify podcasts. On Mondays, we will either post shows dealing with LGB Trek or Fight the Patriarchy. On Tuesdays, we've got Techno Trek and What If. On Wednesdays, we have Black Trek and Section 31. If you want to stay informed with what we're doing on most social media platforms, look for us at Trekker's Delight. We can be found on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. Again, our handle is at Trekker's Delight. If you have information you want to send to us, you can send that information to our Gmail account at trekkersdelight@gmail.com. That is trekkersdelight@gmail.com. Please like, follow, subscribe, add, comment, and share to stay delighted in Trek. As always, I'm Jermaine Watson, and you've been listening or watching Trekker's Delight. May you have peace and long life.
And thanks to our guests.
Yes. Thank you so very much.
Thank you for coming, guys.
Thanks for joining, guys.
Thank you for having me, guys.
you.